Hello, and welcome to another episode of I Damanda Homestead. My name is Amanda, and today it is beginning of January here in Southern Ontario, and we're going to talk a little bit about, don't mind Peanut, our rooster, he's going to be chatty. We're going to talk a little bit about kind of what we still have left of our food stores. So we're going to go kind of into our root cellar and talk about the garden and all of our preserves and see kind of what we still have left that we're using right now. This is our garden, the way it looks right now. Covered in snow. But it's a little bit deceiving because we actually are still harvesting a vegetable from in this garden. Under all this snow, still quite edible, is kale. And if we just kind of shake the snow off, it is there. It is still kind of fresh and good, just as if you had bought it from the store. It's perfect. So we're still using this right now for salads, as well as for making kind of like put in soups or just kind of sauteed with some olive oil and garlic. So it's nice to kind of just come out here and just pull off a fresh bit of kale. This is the top of our, the outdoor part of our root cellar that we talked about earlier in other videos. So we're gonna go in there from the basement, which is the other place where we can access this cellar, and then we'll be able to show you kind of what we've got in there right now. We're now in the basement, and this is the, there's our basement. Ooh, messy, don't look. Okay, so this is the door to that walkout, which we turned into the root cellar that we're going to go and have a look at. First thing I should say is because we are doing some cured meats in there, I have, probably do another episode of this later on, but I have a humidity monitor here because I want to keep my humidity in there between 70 and 80%, because that's the best for drying cured meats. So I have this kind of set up with a humidity probe in there, which you'll see, and then to a little inexpensive humidifier unit. So when the humidity level drops too low, it turns on the humidifier. Now, humidity levels tends to be pretty good in there anyway, so this is just to help it out just a little bit more. All right, so I've also covered the window here because you want it dark in there for both the meat and for the vegetables. So if we turn on the light, this is our root cellar. So it's that walkout. You can kind of see there's the stairs and the walkout that goes right out to the garden. And the shelving unit that we've got here is actually an old fridge that we turned on its side. Kind of takes up a fair amount of space, but at least is sturdy enough to hold our vegetables packed in sand. And we've got it resting on cinder blocks just to raise it up enough to make it easier for me, and also so that it sits on the stairs. So because if you saw the video on packing vegetables in sand, or if you've done this yourself, you're gonna know that vegetables in sand are very, very heavy. So you need a really, really sturdy kind of shelving unit, or put them on the floor to make it so that you're not gonna kind of damage the shelving unit. You can see my little humidifier there. I've got it wrapped in a neck warmer because when it turns on, it has a light, and we don't, again, as I said before, you don't want light in here because it's bad for the vegetables. So if we kind of go through and show you what we've got here, we've got a few of these kind of like plastic totes with food grade plastic, and in each one of those we've got sand. I don't remember what this one is. Let's see, what is that? Oh, these are our Jerusalem artichokes that are in this one. So we've got couple of containers, 1 container of Jerusalem artichokes, 1 container of turnips, 1 container of parsnips, 2 containers of carrots. So those are kind of our big root vegetables. And then down here you can kind of see those cured meats we were talking about. Oh, and here's that little humidity probe, because I want to kind of know exactly what the humidity is like in that little part of the chamber here. So again, this is just an old fridge, and we drilled kind of holes up in here so that we could kind of hang some of these hooks. And this is a cut of pork called a copa, which we kind of brined in curing salts and spices in our fridge for a couple of weeks. And then you tie it up like this, and you let it dry until it's lost 30% of its weight. So that'll be about 6 weeks. So these have been in here probably for about 2.5 weeks now. So they're about halfway done. So I will probably do another video that talks about how to make these, because cured copa is super easy and it's really tasty too. Also, we have in here, we did buy some apples from a local orchard, bushels worth. We're almost done those. On this shelf, if you can kind of see, I've got our leftover acorn squash, and a couple of small butternut squashes. In here I've got eggs preserved in lime water, because when the days get shorter, the chickens don't lay as much, and so we kind of wanted to preserve the eggs when we had lots of them. So these, again, I'll probably do a video on that as well when I start doing that again in the summertime, which is when we generally do it. And these eggs will stay fresh in that lime water for 6-8 months. So, and lastly, in our root cellar, we have got our vegetable ferments. So again, I did videos on those as well. So you can kind of see there are the pickles, there are fermented green beans, and our sauerkraut. I didn't do a video on that one, but again, I probably will. So this is our root cellar. And then we'll go on and show you kind of the other areas where we still have kind of leftover food and preserves. Very important thing for any homesteader is the chest freezer. This is where we kind of store our meat that we get from our local farmer, or the chickens that we processed this year. We've still got a couple of them in there as well, and then all of our frozen vegetables. So it's not very organized, but in here we've got some grass-fed chicken and grass-fed beef that we get from the local farmer. There's a carcass from one of our chickens that I'm going to make into soup. We've got a couple of our whole frozen chickens here from the ones that we processed. And then I've got lots of frozen vegetables. So that's like beans. Beans are all kind of vacuum packed. And this is frozen zucchini. This is an experiment. I'm going to try and turn these into kind of like an eggplant parmesan, but with zucchini. And then just for ease, we've got blanched and frozen kale here. Even though the kale's fine, when I blanch and freeze it, it's I can thaw this and then just saute it, and it just takes like 2 minutes. So this just makes it into a quicker meal for me, rather than having to go all the way out to the garden to dig up some kale from under the snow. This is just easier. So we've got lots of stuff in there yet that we're working through. These are our remaining preserves. These, at the beginning of the winter, these were kind of, shelves were just completely stocked full, but this is kind of what happens as you go through. So what we've got left, I've still got some drying beans. Those are salsa. And we've got pickled peppers, hot peppers, lots of canned tomatoes, some dried zucchini. I've got some jars of pasta sauce. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, we got lots of still applesauce, canned pears, some canned nectarines that didn't turn out very well, pickled beets, and then up here we've got jam, a few jars of jam, not too much actually. I'm gonna have to make more soon next year. Some chili, garlic chili sauce, sweet chili sauce, a pepper hot sauce, and then we've got, these are pretty cool. These are pickled grape leaves to make into something called a dolma, if anybody's heard of those. It's like rice and meat, spiced rice and meat wrapped in the pickled grape leaf, and then you simmer it. They're really, really good. And kind of serve them dressed in oil, olive oil, Mediterranean thing. Very, very nice. Since we kind of always have to prune our grapes, we usually try and make some of those every year. So we'll show you our lettuce operation, and that's pretty much all we have going on here as far as food right now. And last but not least, our lettuce growing operation, which I did a couple of videos on earlier, so you can kind of see how that's come along. Our lettuces are not actually looking very good. I tried a different kind of lettuce this year, and it's, I mean, it's still okay, but it's going brown. I'm not quite sure why. I am fertilizing it every couple of weeks, but it just doesn't seem to be very happy. So I'm gonna probably pull that out fairly soon. But the other things, here are herbs. And you can see them quite nicely. We've got our mint, our basil, and cilantro. That's doing really well. And then over here, we've got our bok choy, which have gotten really nice and big. So they're gonna be, I'm gonna pull them out pretty soon, use them for some stir fries. So that is pretty much kind of what we've got going on right now as far as food here that we are still using at the beginning of January. So we still have plenty of vegetables left, as you've seen. So we're not making any trips to the grocery stores for vegetables. We do still have some fruit. We do buy fresh fruit as well, just because we just haven't been able to produce enough fruit. And then we're still eating our chickens from the summer. And then we buy kind of beef and pork from a local farmer. So that's how we're doing right now in early January. Things are still looking good for all of our stuff that we're using. So thank you for joining me on another episode of I Damanda Homestead. And if you like our videos, please feel free to press the subscribe button, and we'll see you soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.